So, word of caution, this is going to be kind of a personal video. So, negative comments are not needed. If you give them, give them. But understand that negative comments are not needed. If there are negative comments on this video, they will be deleted. I won't do anything but just delete the comments because we need positivity. And this is a subject that needs understanding, not hatred. So, yeah. Hello everyone. This is kind of a difficult video for me to make, but I feel like it's kind of needed. So a lot of people in the world, this is Real Talk Monday, and we do real talk things here. So a lot of people in the world suffer from some form of mood disorder, whether it's depression, anxiety, mania, some form of a mood disorder. And I suffer from two. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and it's coupled with some pretty severe abandonment issues. So my illness is treated with therapy and medication. But the therapy is heavier than the medication. And YouTube is also my therapy. So me doing videos for you guys is also a form of therapy, because if I can make somebody smile, I'm doing something right. So with that being said, for some people, depression is a chemical imbalance in the brain, and that's true. Being an early childhood educator, you learn that things that happen to a child between birth and 5 years determines what type of child they're going to be, their personality, the way they think, the way they feel, the way they react to things and solve problems. And that's true. Like, the young years are the building block years to your personality. So whatever happened to you then is what can shape you. But you are still growing. Your mind is still developing different avenues well until your 20s, early 30s. So sometimes something can happen in your childhood, like, say you had like a great childhood up until you were 6 years old, and a traumatic event happened and you have no idea how to handle it. Something in your brain creates an avenue. The chemicals in your brain create an avenue to help you deal with that, and it might not be the right avenue, or it might not be a normal avenue for your brain to take. And if you don't know how to talk about it, if you have people that you tell and they say something negatively to you in the effect of, oh, well, don't worry about that, or you lied about that, or that's not true, you're making things up, and they just completely leave you alone and abandon you, it could create some very negative feelings in your mind about events. And that's for everybody. That is where PTSD comes in, where something traumatic happened to you and your brain deals with it in a negative way. So I deal with depression because early in my life, my father left. I grew up without my father. Literally, my entire existence was me wondering if my dad was dead or alive, and not having any way of contacting or getting in touch with him or anybody that might have known him. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg, for inventing Facebook. But then there was also a traumatic event that happened to me when I was 8 years old, involving a cousin and a closet in my room. And the events surrounding that and my family's reaction to that, instead of being open and caring about it and trying to help me, they basically demonized me and shut me out and said, no, that didn't happen. Couple that with being bullied all through middle school, being placed in a mental institution twice for breakdowns, one being far worse than the other, and while in the latter institutionalization, a female member of my family telling me, oh, we don't want you in the family anymore. And this was an important female member of the family. It wasn't my mom, but it was just as important. And then being placed in a group home once I was released from said institution, and at the group home being bullied and abused and tortured by the girls who lived there, and the directors did nothing about it. So my trust in older adults kind of went between the ages of 8 and 17 years old. And, you know, the fact that my early years was filled with so much crap and nobody gave me any way of dealing with it, any way of talking about it, any way of letting out my frustrations, but instead they threw nothing but medication at me, and I barely remember anything from those years, or understand why things happened the way they did. It kind of set me up for all the failures I experienced in my 20s. My being alone, my being anxious, if I get into a relationship with somebody, feeling like that person will leave, whether it's a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Getting close to somebody was and is really hard for me, because once I do get close to that person, I start getting these thoughts of, oh, they're going to leave, they don't mean it, this, that, and the other, and I freak out. Especially if that person does not show me they're going to stay. And I get depressed and anxious because I'm 32, and a lot of things that typically are accomplished in your 20s, I'm either still not accomplished in them, or I'm working towards being accomplished in them, but it's taking a really damn long time, and it's frustrating me, it's depressing me. So that being said, in my lifetime, I've heard people say some really crappy things when I've been depressed to me. Like these are things you don't say to people who are in the middle of a depressed episode or an anxiety episode. Get over it. It's not that bad. You're being selfish. There are other people with bigger problems than you in this world. Get over it. How are you going to be sad and depressed about things that you can't control when there are people out there that are dying at the hands of mass killers, or children getting raped and kidnapped from their homes? You're being selfish. You think the world revolves around you. These are things you don't say to people with depression and anxiety and mood disorders. That won't make them feel any better. That will make them feel worse. Believe me, that'll make them feel worse. And that'll make them never want to come with you with anything again. Ever again. And I've had friends that have attempted suicide, or friends that have killed themselves. And whenever I hear somebody say things like, "Oh well, they took the coward's way out. They didn't try to finish," or "They were being selfish. They didn't care about what happens to the people that they're leaving behind," or "They're going to burn in hell because they took their own lives." You don't know what's going through that person's head. You don't know what that person went through. It's not okay for you to say things like that. And it really, it bothers me, and it pisses me off to like no end whatsoever. And, those are things that I've heard. Those are things that I've encountered. Those are things that I've been told. And none of it helped. It's like the medication I was on in the early part of my 20s, it made me so tired and so sleepy and so groggy. I was like, dude, why am I on this? Because I was on them from my late teens to my early 20s. And I said, this is too much medication. I cannot concentrate. I'm falling asleep in class. I'm falling asleep on the bus. I'm falling asleep everywhere. This is not cool. And then finally, I had to stop taking it. I stopped going to my therapist. I stopped everything I was doing because none of it was working. I knew that what was wrong with me was not what I was being treated for. And I knew that what was wrong with me needed something else. It needed some other type of therapy. It needed some other type of medication. Something else, and nobody was listening. So then I finally gave it one last try. Went back to the place I was going, and there was a new doctor there. And he said, "Oh, you have no signs of any of this stuff that is in this file. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw it out, and I'm going to put diagnosis unknown, and we're going to start again from the beginning." And he did. And he came up with the diagnosis I knew was wrong with me, but nobody was listening. That I had major depression coupled with anxiety and severe abandonment issues. And that I don't need a whole lot of medication. I just need a whole shitload of therapy to deal with it and sort through it all. And that's what's going on with me right now. And I know that for a couple of vlogs, I have said that I was depressed. And I went through episodes of depression and anxiety. And I was really, really down. I really didn't feel like doing anything. But I pushed, and I wanted to put something out for you guys. And that's still true. And this is the bravest and most open I've been about this subject. It's Real Talk Monday, and I had a mini depression and anxiety attack last night. So I felt like it was something that needed to be talked about today. And maybe in the future, who knows, I will actually be big enough to capture my depression and anxiety on camera, so people could see one form of that disorder, for the way I go through it. I mean, I know it's different for everybody, but the way I go through it. So who knows? So what about you guys? Do you guys know anybody that has a mood disorder? Have you guys ever, or do you have a mood disorder, if you feel comfortable talking about it? Have you ever heard someone say those things to somebody else? Have you said those things? Have those things been said to you? Comment down below and let me know. Let's open up and be loving and wonderful Wonderlandians and have a great discussion about this, because this is something that means something to me, and I know it means something to a lot of other YouTubers too. So let's get together and have a wonderful discussion about this. This is something that's important that we all need to know about. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Share it with your coworkers. Share it with whoever. Share it with people who might not understand the different sides of mood disorders or depression and anxiety, who don't understand that abandonment issues is a thing. so that they can know. I know this video is uncut and there's no jump cuts, there's no fancy editing or anything like that, but this is me being 110% real with you guys, and this is like the realest I've ever been. So I love you guys, and I'm holding the camera with one hand, so I can't do it all, so you guys have to do like half a heart with me. Do half a heart with me. Have a heart. Yeah, there we go. Love, peace, and have a star. Stardust. Mwah. Love you guys. Wonderland.